It says from, but it's Mayflower. And then if you look really close, this is Old English, it says per Extifer, if you see Extifer Jones. Christopher Jones is the captain that brought the Mayflower to America 10 years later. I was just always fascinated by old things. I remember when my grandfather died, and I was actually only 7 then. I remember the aunts and uncles building a fire and just dumping boxes and boxes of stuff that my grandmother had saved. She was a real pack rat, and she saved a lot of things. And I thought at the time, as a 7-year-old, they're not even looking at this stuff. This could be interesting. And I asked my mother, did you save any of Grandma's things? She says, yeah, there was one box. It was up in the rafters, though, in the garage. But I found 13 letters of Heber J. Grant in that box written to my grandmother in the Great Depression years. I still collect prophets. I still collect church leaders and so on. American history was always interesting to me. This is a wallet that belonged to George Abbott Hall. He was an American patriot who was actually exiled from South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, during the Revolution for having pro-rebel, sentiments. This wallet was given to him by his cousin, George Washington, and the two men actually were quite close. There's a photograph that was taken in the 19th century. You can tell by the photographic paper, it's very thin, of the wallet, and a note on the back that from the family that it just says, quote, General Washington's wallet, given by him to George Abbott Hall. Down the hallway, like I say, is the first document I collected that way, and that was out of an antique store in Salt Lake. But this is Thomas McKean, and this got me interested because it's an early document. It's 1806, but I didn't realize that he had been the last signer. He voted for independence, and then he was one of the ones that had to go fight, so the document wasn't done. And they let him come back in after Yorktown, 1781. He was the last one because he voted on it to come back and sign the document. That's the reason I collect. I think it brings history to life. I think history can be either the most boring or the most interesting subject, depending on your teacher and and really my teacher has been the original manuscripts more than anything. I think what'll be interesting to people is to actually see the history. It's a tangible kind of thing where you can read Mark Twain saying that he got his idea sitting in church Sunday morning. That's in his letter here, or we're standing in front of Chief John Marshall's letter. Or most poignant of all is the one right behind you here, this notice of a public sale of Negroes in Charleston, South Carolina in 1833, where public notice, a printed notice says the family's willing to that the owner's willing to split up the family, sell the children off from the parents. And you think something like this happened in our country? And when you read that, it really hits you between the eyeballs. Yeah.